Now, if you're Prince Harry, you might absolutely wonder exactly what is your role in this world. Now, I mean, there you have it, a former army hero. You did your very best, of course, for the country, and it was a role that you truly loved. I mean, I really believe that, in fact, chums. I think Prince Harry was probably the happiest that he'd ever been, and I think the reason being was there was a lot of freedom. Suddenly he could do something that he really liked, he got involved with, he got friends, new friends that remained friends for a long time. And then suddenly, of course, things started to go slightly downhill, shall we say, when he decided to get married. Of course, a lot of wives decide to do that. They don't necessarily like the chums that you've got. And consequently, Harry, weaker than most, capitulated and moved over. But Harry, as you know, has, shall we say, difficulties in asserting himself, some people might suggest. As ever, let me explain. Morning, good to see you. Thank you so much for joining me in the very heart of London. Hope you're keeping well, whatever you're doing there today. And of course, if you're going to bed this evening, by the way, we have changed the clocks, right? British summertime has now ended. You can see the tears, right? So we don't get that back, I think, until March, is it, or something? So if you're wondering why it's a bit late or not on time or whatever, I'm not sure what the time scales are in certain parts of the country, right? So, not the country, but the world, right? So we have officially ended British summertime. We're now into winter. I know, tears. I know, I can fit, yes. But we've got lots of flowers, don't worry, we'll survive. We'll get through this together. Yes, where's the Dunkirk spirit? Unlike, of course, Prince Harry, who, as you now know, really is kind of, some people might suggest, door opener, bag handler, all of that sort of stuff for his wife, the former cable TV actress Meghan Markle. And what's interesting, I find, about Meghan's role, if you like, is when she was talking to that friend recently about, sort of life and everything. And she said, I lived in a duplex. And she's now trying to pull back on the fact that she lives in a mansion. She married rich and got all of that because she married rich. Nothing wrong with that. But if she said, I looked out, I met the man of my dreams, and suddenly because of his reach and his access, things, changed and more than I could have dreamed of. But Meghan can never allow anybody into her success, whatever that might be. That's part of the problem with her Netflix TV show, as ever with Love Meghan, I love the the press release from the recently departed communications officer, right, yeah. And it basically said after a successful season or run, what's unsuccessful then? Do tell, sister, because the bottom line was that certainly was not successful. However, the holiday special is looming and Harry, yes, has been brought in on board. And the idea really, and this is where you just realise this is where you're at, right? This is what your role now is if you're Harry. The bottom line is Harry now has to look at where he is and what he's doing and all that sort of stuff. And what they decided was at the end of this particular holiday season episode, Christmas episode, we'd call it over here in the United Kingdom, is they needed to go out with a bang. I mean, they realised that Netflix are not going to want any more of this unique series, right? And so consequently, the idea was to get lots and lots of famous people to sort of just video a message, whether it be on the phone saying, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, season's greetings, that sort of stuff. Tricky, right? And so the thing is, that's now being delegated, and again, I have to say, allegedly, to none other than the former royal. So, think about where he's come from and think about now what he's doing. And that was part of the reason why they were schmoozing up to the likes of the big Hollywood star Kevin Costner. Everybody was talking about that. But of course, Meghan has been trying to cultivate these people. People like Gwyneth Paltrow. They need big names to finish the series off. And it's a sort of thing that a lot of these celebrities do. The idea really is they kick back at the 11th hour and say, we might have gone and you might not want any more, but look what you're missing. As of yet, shall we say, the response has been, and I'll be kind because we're coming into the holiday season, lukewarm, right? Because obviously people who get attached to any idea or project or whatever with Markle, it doesn't necessarily seemingly work out well. But maybe the Christmas spirit might just come through one more time. It's a developing story. When I know more, you'll know more. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.